Welcome, fellow Broodwar fans. Today I'm bringing you a single game out of a best-of-3 series played by some fellow clanmates Poutine and Nyentek. I assume that's how you say it. You'll have to correct me if I'm wrong on that. This is going to be a PvZ on the map Goodnight, and we will have to hop in and see how this goes. I'm told it was quite the good game. In the top left we have Poutine, going by the name Escalade. And in the bottom right we have our Zerg player Nyentek. PvZ, like I said, on the map, Goodnight. It is going to be cross spawns, setting that first Overlord out, so nothing too crazy going on immediately. No fast pulls, no probes being sent out. Looks like we've got some banter between the two players. Not entirely sure what the series was played for. I do know it is, I think, Game 3 of the best-of-3 series. I do not have the full series. It sounds like most likely it wasn't quite as epic of a series, just the third game turned into quite an epic game. Probe coming down to do that first pylon placement and sending out the probe afterwards. Probably going to be a Forge Expand. Usually that's the only reason you want to send this probe out this early. Looks like they're both going to scout each other second. We should see if this is going to be a scout drone. I'm assuming so, because we do have an overpull looking like it's going to be placed down. We will have to see that in a second. A little bit more banter. It looks like it was a best of 7. And Nyentek is up 2-0. For the it's like he can hear me. This isn't a live cast. This is a recording, but he's answering my questions for me. Good job. Okay, so looks like we are going to get a hatch first. Well, we get a random drone being built here. I'm a little undecided, I'm assuming. No pool, no hatch first. He needs to decide which one he's going to do. Are we going to see? We're going to see a hatchery at another main base. That's just crazy. Now, Poutine should get down here and scout the Zerg's base, see if there's no expansion here, get into the main, see that there's no spawning pool, and wonder where the hell those minerals have gone to. He can come down here and check this base, and come over here and check this base, and try and figure out kind of exactly what he thinks is going on. Should see the spawning pool now. Should see the timing. That just barely went down as well. Looks like he's going to try and take a quick gas here as well, so maybe we're going to see a 2-hatch muta kind of played, or trying to hide the second muta. Could also be Hydras, but that gas is a little bit early for Hydras, so I think it's probably going to be a muta play. We do have our Forge and our Cannon here at our Protoss. Protoss is doing a completely standard play. Our Zerg, not so much. A little bit of harassment going on here with the probe. Probably won't get too much done. Not taking any hull damage, though, is good. Staying alive and staying in here is really good. I'd like to see him kind of scout to find out what's going on here, because he should realize that the Zerg should have more than just a spawning pool going on right now. Excuse the notifications. Looks like he's coming down here to block the hatchery that is not coming, because that hatchery is in some other main. This is one of the most bizarre things I think I've ever seen. Now, at this point, Nyentek also doesn't know where Poutine is, in like the sense he can't see. He obviously has scouted this base. He has a base in this base, so he knows that he's in this top left location, but he doesn't know exactly what's going on. Bit risky there. I would like to see this Overlord move a little bit earlier, maybe a second drone scout, but this is obviously a very strange build. That's not like the usual. And looks like we're getting a ton of Zerglings being built and Zergling speed, not pulling drones off of gas. Looks like we do have 2 drones on gas. So gets the probe, and that's big, because he's not going to see that there's more Zerglings being made. 6 Zerglings is already like a lot of Zerglings to start with. Generally, a Zerg player is going to make 2 to 4. 4 if they feel like there's going to be Zealot pressure coming. 2 if they just want to be a little bit greedier and try and get some stuff down. Second cannon coming up, and that's good. He's going to definitely need that. He's going to need a couple of probes down here to block this wall, though, and he looks like he is pulling those down, so that's great. Nexus is also just about to finish, and it looks like Poutine's got everything he's going to need to hold here. As long as he micros well, he needs to get a probe in this gap. Get a probe in this gap. Move, probe. Move to this gap. Right here. Move there. Okay, here comes the Zerglings. Okay, they poke forward. Take a look. He should wait for Zergling speed here. I don't think he should go in yet, but we've got still more Zerglings on the way. We do have a lair in the kind of secret base. It looks like it's going to be maybe a Zergling flood into... oh, he's attacking his own Forge, too. And oh, no, the Zerglings get in. He didn't quite block it properly, but he's diving out of the cannons. I think this is a mistake. He should have just ran right into the main. He's not even going to get this one cannon. Takes it down to just a little bit of hull damage. That last link tries to run into the main, but it's too late. All those Zerglings die and get almost nothing accomplished. However, in 5 minutes, we'll have to check back. He might kill his own Forge with a probe, so we'll see if he catches it. Oh, no, he catches it. So no problem, no risks there. Our lair is finished, or just about to finish, excuse me. I don't generally look at the tab. I'm used to live casting, so I'm not the greatest at keeping an eye on that. Probably should see a Spire going down. If he's going to go for a Hydras or like a Lurker play, that Hydraliston should have already been down, so I'm assuming we're going to see a Spire at one of these bases at some point. For now, Poutine's in a very, very good spot. That Zergling Rush didn't do anything. Seeing a bit of a gateway explosion coming out. And that's not good. We don't have a core yet. It's still morphing, so we don't have the ability to get Corsairs yet. And there's the Spire going down. So Poutine could be in a lot of trouble here if he doesn't get those Corsairs out as soon as possible to deal with this Mutaplagues. It's looking like there's going to be a pretty heavy commitment to Mutas. We don't have a second gas taken yet, but Nyentek has been mining gas with 2 drones this whole time, so he is building up a bit of a bank, and he's even thrown that 3rd drone back into gas, which is good. It's pretty common to like see a player try and be cute and pull just 1 drone out of something to get some more minerals, and then they completely forget to replace it. I know I've done that before. I'm sure everyone else has this as well. So at the moment, going back into a more casual game, this second gas is probably a little bit early since this core is only just finishing, but it's a pretty normal timing. That core was just late, and we do have the Stargate going down, which is great. He's going to need to get those Corsairs out fast, and he's going to need to scout. The problem is with this location here, and we do have that second gas coming down for a Zerg now, so definitely looking at probably Mutaplay here. But with this base here, it's going to be really difficult for him to scout that. It may be that he doesn't even head down here. He's going to want to head immediately over to the main base and the natural and try and see what's going on there. That Zergling count, if he was paying attention, should have notified him that there was a second hatchery somewhere on the map that was more Zerglings than could be made at one time. But if Nyentek's not super familiar with Zergs or their larva mechanic, he may not he may not really grasp how much Zerglings could have existed based on the larva limitation there. It's kind of something that you don't generally think of. And we do have 6 mutas on the way instantly. Nyentek spending all of his bank immediately to get those in. The Stargate is done, but there is not a Corsair being made, and there's no cannons being prepared anywhere in any of these mineral lines. These mutas might get in here and do a lot of damage. 5 mutas is all it takes to kill 1 probe. And we're going to have 6 popping right now, and they're going to be heading immediately across the map. Still no Corsair started. Citadel of Adoon's only just about to finish up, so we won't even have the ability to get Templar tech. That Corsair's finally starting, but those mutas are going to be here as it's finishing, and that's not a position you want to be in. Zealot counterattack heading across the map, though. He doesn't know this is a counterattack, but this is good. This is very good pressure. He needs to get these across the map and do something, try and pull those mutas back. And if he can't pull those mutas back, he at least needs to do damage to equalize the amount of damage he's about to take, because these mutas are coming. And there is no Corsair. It's going to pop right as it gets here. 1 Corsair is not going to beat 6 mutas. Quick, that first Corsair pops. Here comes the mutas. First 2 come in, get some shots off. Corsair's coming back to fight, but this Corsair cannot fight these mutas. It can, however, beat these mutas if these mutas just focus probes and don't try and turn around and kill this Corsair. He should just kill this Corsair. You can kill this Corsair easily. Man, I am getting tongue-tied. Why is Corsair such a tongue twister? But okay, that Corsair is going to go down. Doesn't really accomplish much. Decent splitting there on the mutas from Nyentek. Doesn't take too much damage. I would chase those down to this base, though. There's nothing down here at the natural. He should be focusing on trying to kill as many probes as he can at the moment, or trying to get the Stargate under control. Stargate's not even building anything at the moment, and there's no Templar tech still on the way, so he doesn't really much of an answer here. But in the meantime, there is a ton of drones going down in the natural of Nyentek here. There's a couple more splitting off into the main. I like this. Bringing the rest in is good as well. He needs to not focus on this creep colony, just kill the drones. By the time this finishes, you'll kill most of these drones here. Okay, so he's going to focus on those. He's bringing the mutas back, though, and that is massive. Needs to get more Corsairs being built, or needs to get that Templar tech down so he can get some Archons out, something to help defend. Takes out both of those creep colonies, sending 2 Zealots to chase the drones, and then going after drones in here. I would try to focus the spawning pool maybe if you can. Just get any kind of damage you can. Killing the spawning pool is a massive thing. Killing the spire is also massive. We do have a Queen's Nest going down and a super fast lair from Nyentek. This is turning into a really strange game. Zerglings and mutas should clean this up. He'll probably clean up all the Zerglings, but these mutas should clean up the rest of the Zealots. But more Zealots are going across the map, and this is good. He needs to do this because he needs to keep pressure on the Zerg to keep these mutas out of his base, because he does not have an answer for these mutas yet. This 1 cannon cannot beat 6 mutas. 2 cannons can, but they aren't really covering each other. He can hit this one or this one quite easily. Overlord's going to spot those Zealots now, and these mutas are going to come running back. Looks like they're not currently in a control group with a Overlord at the moment to do the stacking. Unfortunately, targets the Evolution Chamber instead of going for the drones or anything of any value, and they're not going to get much done. Okay, he does notice at the last second, just a bit of micro. Gets 1 drone, gets 2 drones, might get a 3rd. No, does not get a 3rd. 2 drones, though, is still good. Keeps that pressure on, keeps those mutas at home. Not to mention he's got 2 more drones here by forcing 2 more creep colonies in the main. Nyentek's really worried about that Zealot pressure, so he's going to put a couple of Sunkens in his main. Nothing over here. We are getting a greater Spire, though, so we're going to be seeing Guardians. Nothing else they could really use that for. That's really interesting. 1 Corsair counters Infinite Guardians, technically, but it's going to take them a long time to kill them. We do have more Corsairs being built. We do have 2 cannons in this mineral line. He could still get in here and kill quite a few probes before he needs to pull back and regenerate health. But that depends partially on his Muta Micro and a couple of other things. He doesn't have his Muta stack, so not going to be as doable now. As you can see, he heads in and gets a probe, but some of those Mutas didn't quite connect with their shots because they weren't stacked quite properly, but that's okay. This Greater Spire is going to finish up before too much longer, and then we should see the Guardians. Now, it should be noted, Dragoons do shoot up, but Dragoons are not a counter to Mutalisk. Mutalisk will destroy Dragoons in numbers. As you can see here, actually, he doesn't even need to run. He can take this fight so easily, it's not even close. He'll probably figure that out when he gets across the map with these goons and he has to fight it off. But we do have some Zerglings on the way. Looks like Nyentek supply blocked himself a little bit, throwing down a creep colony to get a sunken because he did get that supply block, so he doesn't have the ability to make a bunch of drones or Zerglings right now. We do have a Dark Templar on the way as well. Pretty normal. Does get an Overlord snipe there as well, so that's going to keep him supply blocked. Actually, he made 2 Overlords, so no, we're still good. He's going to be able to get some Zerglings out. And here comes the Guardians. Now, Guardians do not take supply to morph, so he can morph these at any point in time, and he's going to morph them right here. And this is going to give Poutine all the information he needs. He's going to see the Guardians defending on the other side of the map, and Guardians are fairly so. So by the time they move across the map and start being able to attack him, he should be able to get an answer for that. Single Corsair going into the main, trying to look for Overlords. He's going to find one. Probably should pull these units back. There's not much that he can get done in the main. If he can at least kill his hatchery, that's pretty good. He needs to keep these Dragoons alive. These Zerglings could do a lot of damage if he's not paying attention, but he does notice. And the Guardians have popped, and now there's that moment of panic where he realizes, oh goodness, there's Guardians. I would almost say finish focusing this hatchery down. There's Sunkens in the main. You're not going to get much done here. Dragoons aren't very good at killing drones, so probably isn't even going to get this one Sunken, unfortunately, but we do have 2 Corsairs now, and with 1 Hydra, that's pretty much all he has to defend these Corsairs. But like I said, Guardians have 2 base armor, and Corsairs only do 5 damage, so these are they're just tickling them to death, literally. They don't do almost any damage at all. But Guardians can't really do anything about them. Okay, you need to not lose the Corsairs, they'll pull it out. Run away! Okay, he loses 1 Corsair, not the end of the world. We've got a few Zerglings across the map as well. It looked like they might want to do something, but there's not much they're going to get done here. Needs to keep pumping out more Corsairs. Honestly, as crazy as it sounds, this might be one of the few times where building a scout is actually worth it. Scouts are generally not built because they're extremely expensive, but they are extremely effective units, and their air-to-air damage is actually insanely high. I think it's one of the best in the game from air-to-air damage. I'm not sure if battlecruisers beat them, but outside of battlecruisers, there's no other ship in the game that has better damage. Carriers probably out DPS them, but their base damage isn't as high. So I wouldn't mind seeing actually a scout coming out of it. But Corsairs will work just fine. And you'll see now these have been moving for like 30 seconds. These are extremely slow units. So he's got plenty of time to think of how he wants to respond to this and make an appropriate thing. He does have Storm. And when these things clump up, Storm can be an extremely effective measure. Probably should move these other Corsairs that he's been building down there to just keep tickling at them, because it will take Corsairs a very long time to kill these. But coming in here, doesn't get any of the high Templars with those Lings. Kind of a waste of his Lings there, but there wasn't much else he's going to get done with it. And these Guardians are now hidden here, hidden in the army. We do have the extra Corsairs coming in to fight now. I would like to see him focus down these high Templars. That's probably more important than anything else here. Killing the Dragoons is nice, but these Guardians aren't going to survive, and those high Templars are definitely a much higher value target. And Poutine sending his units across the map for a counterattack now. We do have 20 drones for the 40 probes of Poutine. Poutine's economy is looking pretty good. That's just about the kind of saturation you want on 2 base. You could be a little bit higher if you wanted. That's not going to hurt, but where he's at right now is just fine. And Nyentek is extremely low on drones. We do have lurkers on the way, though, which is massive because there is no detection, but they need to pop and he needs to get them in a good position. He can burrow them here, and as long as Poutine notices and just runs past them. Okay, looks like he's going to burrow 1 here and 1 in the main. It's probably the best bet. He could just kind of ignore them and do what damage he can, but he probably should pull his army back and not just suicide it in. Looks like he's decided that he does want to go the suicide route, though. Corsair's trying to get some Overlords here. Is not going to get much done. Does pull this one out before he loses it. Okay, these High Templars could get some drone kills here if they move forward. Looks like he's going to just go for the Lurker. Misses with that second Storm, unfortunately. Ooh, Lurker almost walks into it. Okay, gets it with a 3rd Storm, and then another Storm going down. Morphs the Archon. This Archon will be killed before it can do anything, but still, it's pressure. It's better than nothing. Looks like we do have Poutine coming up here to take a 3rd base at the other main. Kind of a sneaky base, but that's okay. It works just fine. And we do have a 4th base going down for Nyentek. Nyentek taking bases all over the map without the drones to really support it. But we do have Defilers out now. Consume was finished a little while ago. And they're moving across the map. And once you get Consume and Dark Swarm and Lurkers right outside your base, that's a very, very unfun time for a Protoss player. Let's take a look at how our upgrades are doing. We got 1-1 for our Protoss player. 0-0 here. Do we have Hydras alive somewhere still? No range. Actually, I probably could have told you that because he doesn't have the economy for it. This this going to be drop? It is. So we do have drop coming. It's going to take 2 overlords to transport. Okay, he's just going to transport the 2 lurkers into the main and try and get a drop on here. Unfortunately, the mutaplay did make it to where there's a lot of cannons here. But lurkers, once they burrow, can still get a lot of damage done, even if they die doing it. If it's not noticed, they'll kill this whole probe line before these cannons will finish them off. So, okay, Dark Swarm is going down now. Probably could have moved this up a little bit forward, but I mean, realistically, if he has 1 observer somewhere, and I think the observatory finished, didn't it? Yeah, it's finished. So he just needs 1 observer, and there's only 1 lurker. He can easily kill that with Zealots. But instead, he's deciding to push across the map and just go for the counterattack. And I don't necessarily disagree with this decision. It's an okay decision, but he doesn't have an observer still, and he's not going to be able to do much without that observer. Okay, that 3rd base is now complete, and 4th base is now complete as well. Outside of that, not really much going on. That drop overlord is going to finish soon. It looks like we do have the observer speed upgrade going, which not very often that you see that, but I do like that. Attack is coming in here. We got a lot of lurkers morphing. Unfortunately, he should have moved them up here and morphed them on the ramp, probably to block the ramp, but it's not going to be the end of the world that he didn't. Doesn't pick off any of those lurkers when he pops. Nope, I think he got 1 of those lurkers when it pops, so that's pretty good. 3 more lurkers on the way, but those are just freshly spawning. He needs to move these dragoons over to attack with these zealots. Looks like he's not microing much. I'm not sure what else he's doing on the map. It looks like he's sending a couple of units back home, so maybe coming back just to do some defense. But these units are going to get cleaned up without doing too much. They do pick off 2 of the morphing lurkers, though, which is pretty big. Alright, and that's just going to about be the end of it. If he can get this lurker before it burrows, he's not going to be able to, but he can move forward, maybe finish off the sunken colony. That's at least something. It's rid of all the sunken. In the meantime, we did have a swarm come down and that lurker move forward, but it's not going to get much done. Slow Overlord is slowly creeping its way in here to drop some lurkers. And honestly, in some ways, the fact that this is slow will probably make Poutine just not even consider it. Even if he does notice it on his minimap, he'll probably just see that and, well, okay, not if you drop the lurkers literally right there. That's fine. That still works. So we'll see here. He's getting attacked at this pace, but much more importantly, I want to see the kind of damage that gets done here. And it looks like he's just running from the cannon, so it looks like he's not going to get really anything done. He's just going to park it right there. Let's see what's going back on at this 4th base. Looks like he got some Zergling kills, got 1 drone. He needs to pick off these Sunkens before they finish. But other than that, I don't think he's going to get much accomplished. He should be able to force out enough Zerglings to manage this between the 2 bases. Okay, there's some observers finally. This creep colony is going to finish, but it's never going to be able to finish morphing into a Sunken from there. And he's just not trickling out units fast enough. He's making Mutalisks. Okay, here comes a big swarm of Zerglings with some Ultralisks. Those are lurkers, good sir. With some lurkers, that should be enough to finish cleaning this up, and we should go back to a stability in this game. Still an extremely, extremely low drone count from Nyentek. Nyentek is really trying to just keep the pressure up and isn't spending any time droning. We do have... Where is that? Oh, there's that Corsair. Is trying to work on 1. Okay, we do have some Scourge that pop out. Needs to send that second one to connect. Okay, that gets dealt with. Another counterattack here. And the pressure here from Poutine is just kind of relentless. These lurkers did get a gateway, but otherwise haven't gotten much done. And we got 5 Dragoons versus 3 Mutas. And the Dragoons will win in this situation. You do need at least an equal Muta count. It depends on the numbers that you have, but Mutas are generally actually pretty good against Dragoons. Okay, so these Zealots are going to get in here, and this is some cute little micro, making them dance around the lurker and take a bunch of extra damage. And he's not noticing, so he's not really microing this, but with the Dragoons coming up here on the Observer, he will finally take that lurker off, and it looks like we're going to move in and start getting some drone kills. And at this point, every single drone is precious. Nyentek doesn't have, like, any drones on the map at all. This is half of his drone count, pretty much, and he's about to lose all of them. He did lose this hatchery as well, which is pretty massive. Sending another army across to try and clean this up, but I think that is a little too late. I would honestly consider maybe doing a counterattack. Did finally clean these lurkers up. I'm not sure what unit he used. Probably one of these Dragoons, actually. I'm not sure what happened to those. I missed it, but they didn't really get much accomplished other than distract the Protoss, which honestly is pretty big. If you can keep the Protoss distracted and have them slip on their macro or micro or something like that because they're dealing with something else, that can be pretty good. Okay, this is going to get cleaned up. And we do have cracklings now, it looks like, and we're getting +1/+1 for our Zerg player, so that's pretty good. The problem is he's still only at 14 drones, but the bonus for him is that our Protoss player is mining out at his main and natural, so our Protoss player is also going to be down to 1 base, and this 1 base he hasn't been building probes at and never transferred to, so it doesn't have a very good probe count. He needs to transfer these probes over there, which also means he needs to get on the map. Looks like he's going to try and take another base here. In the meantime, we did have a big recall. I can't believe I missed the recall. Recall came in, and we have cannons going down as well. The BM, that is just styling on Nyentek here. The Filer Mound could easily get picked off. He doesn't have observers over here. Looks like we're just going to get the GG. Poutine is going to take Nyentek out in one of the weirdest games I have ever seen. From a proxy base, I don't even know if you want to call that a proxy base, but a base and another main as your first base as a Zerg player, into Mutaplay, into all sorts of crazy things, ending with a recall against a Zerg player. That is just insanity. I hope you all enjoyed this cast, and have a great day or great weekend.